Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about the Nova Sorceress and why it's probably one of the more powerful builds in the game in D2R as of 2.4, especially for the start of the ladder, but as we'll show here, it's actually quite powerful late game as well. So here we're showing off just some random budget gear that you can sort of expect day 1 or 2 of ladder if you're pushing at a good pace, an assortment of just random charms that do various resistances, life, things like that. I am simulating as if this is a level 80 character, so I forgot to actually leave the stat points out, so assume you have a little bit less life here, but I've left 10 skill points out. In this build we're using Orb as a support, so we're going to max Static Field Nova Lightning Mastery as expected to maximize our Nova damage, and then we're going to be putting 1 point into Warmth, obviously, and 20 points into Orb, and a few points into Cold Mastery that we have left over, which isn't very many at this level, so this is assuming level 80. I've chosen the Act 1 Mercenary, mostly because they allow insight and bows now, and it'll be a little bit easier to keep alive versus an Act 2. Here I'm going to show why this build is so powerful. So even at this level, it's basically going to be the best key farmer, I think, early on, assuming you have a Nature's Peace. But here I'm just showing you can kill champion packs as you're MFing or doing whatever throughout the game, even at this gear level. It really doesn't have a problem. Nova damage isn't very high compared to other skills, but what it does do is it hits a lot of monsters and it puts them into hit recovery very quickly. So despite having to kind of tally stomp everything, you're actually quite safe with this build if you play it properly. Make our way to countess. Now, if you want to be a little safe like I do here, you just kind of back off and let monsters run into you. Ranged monsters can be a little trickier, but for the most part, you can just kind of let things run into you and die. I didn't show the damage there, but our Nova damage is about 1600 and Orb is only in the mid 300s, so pretty low damage, which is what you'll expect in the early ladder. As you can see, Arcane Sanctuary is actually a pretty good place to farm, especially for this character. There'll be no lightning immunes here, and the ghosts will have increased rune drops, things like that, so even with this low gear, it has really no problem. Here's where the Nature's Peace is going to come in handy. I like to open a portal just to make sure if you do die, which can definitely happen on a lower level, at a low gear level, you can get back pretty quickly, get your body. It's not too bad. The only thing you have to really watch out for here is the pit vipers, the snakes. You'll need to use Orb on them if you want to clean them up. If you don't have a Nature's Peace, you can make a Lawbringer, throw it in your weapon slot, and use it just for nihlathak there. Now, what I'm showing here is why this build I think is so crazy. Because kind of as a day 1 ladder setup here, you're able to farm pretty much anything you want. It's not ideal, but this character can clear the game, and as you'll see, I'll be able to pull off this spell run with pretty minimal effort. This is, of course, on Players 1 difficulty.
Thank you.
Just go to town to clear our poison, fill up our potions. I didn't do a very good job of it here, but one of the nice things about Orb is when you've got mobs that you really don't want to stick around or be around, you can kind of just tele-dance and Orb. But the other thing you can do is pre-cast Orb into static here just to make sure mobs aren't running up on you super quick. So you drop the Orb and sort of as the mobs are spawning, and then hit a few statics just to chunk the mob's HP. Clear our poison. Yeah, basically, with a setup like this, with this gear level, you're pretty much going to want to tele-dance with Orb. If you stand still, these Hydras are going to rip you. Wave 3, 4, and 5, you pretty much need to do this. Trying to get good distance to the mob here so that the orb is kind of exploding just past it, I think is what works the best. Kind of like that. That'll increase your DPS on a single target. If you're going to kill bosses with this, this can kill any act bosses, Mephisto, Andariel, doesn't matter. Same thing, you'll just want a static and then orb dance. It's not as AFK as something like moat tricking Mephisto with Blizzard or Hydras, but the versatility of this character is very, very high. Basically, from the start of the ladder, you can spec once into this build, and then after this run, I'll show you sort of a mid-tier build, the Talrasha set, which will pretty much be the only thing I swap out here. And you'll see that it can just absolutely shred things the whole game, no problem. You get a little bit unlucky here. Lister is cold immune on this pack, so we'll have to kind of just take down the other mobs first with Orb, and then eat some hits from Lister and just take him down with Nova. But doable. I don't know that I would recommend doing runs at this level, but if you want to, if you're chasing items from baal, or you're just looking to get experience, it's extremely powerful. There are plenty of other characters that can do this. The issue being that you won't have teleport with Enigma like the Sorceress does. So early on, the fact that it can clear baal waves by itself and have teleport and be relatively safe is, in my opinion, I don't know how many other characters can do that. Here we go, I'm loading up a new game. Really all I'm going to do here is throw on the Talrasha set. I'm leaving all the other stuff on. It's not very ideal. This Tal set doesn't even have sockets in it. There's no socket in the helmet, the armor, or the weapon. So we're really not even showing proper mid-tier items here. I threw on just a random torch. I think it's a Necro Torch and an Annie. Those are pretty easy to come by now, so they'll be able to get those very early on ladder. And I'm going to allocate these last 10 points, so this is basically showing what an actual level 90 sorceress would look like. I'm pumping up Cold Mastery here. You kind of want that up to minus 150, but I stopped a little bit short and threw some points into Ice Bolt. But other than that, really nothing has changed. Obviously this can still farm keys even better. Champion elite pack hunting while you're on your way. This character will do very good MFing. So it'll have 200 some odd MF. I don't know if I checked it. But very good for MFing. Open world everywhere. Champs, elites, whatever you want. Kill anything. Any bosses, doesn't matter. Now these baal waves become, I would say trivial, but quite easy now that we've got the Talrasha set on. The Tal set is very good for hybrid builds. Like this, where we've got both cold and light. I'm still using my kind of budget act Act 1 Mercenary here. I didn't even upgrade it to an Act 2 Mercenary with better gear, so it's still using very early ladder gear. I think it dies in this run as a result, but you can very easily, at this point, you're going to have a much stronger Mercenary. I just didn't bother upgrading it for the video. As you can see here, I really don't have to orb dance like I did with the previous run. You can sit there and just take it. A mercenary, however, cannot. So we go and resurrect her really quick. Wave 4 gets completely shredded. Now Wave 5 can still really hurt. They do a stun and a knockback, so early on it's not the kind of thing you want to just kind of sit in, but you can if you want. Got another cold, maybe enlister. So you can kill Baal, it just takes a little bit of time. You'll just use static into orb. I'm not going to show it here just for the sake of it. But if you can kill Baal waves, you should have no problem killing Baal. Now we're going to show a single player character with, I wouldn't even say optimized gear, but very near, close to max gear. It's still going to use the 105 breakpoint, but we've got a lot more power level now. So we're going to be running a Shootas with a facet in it, a lightning facet, griffins, spirit, silkweaves for the mana, SOJs, arachnids, all to pump up our mana, because we're going to be utilizing energy shield here to keep us alive. And here we've got a proper Merce, Infinity, Fort, Andes. Now we're running very pure lightning on this build, static, Nova, Lightning Master as before, but now we're pumping up energy shield and telekinesis. We want energy shield to be level 40 after our battle command. That'll give us our maximum damage reduction. And whatever points I have left over, I've thrown in Thunderstorm here just for fun. So now, I think I already have it set, but we'll show you what a player 8 Baal looks like soloing with this character, which I don't even think is optimized fully, but just shows the potential of this character. So I find this will probably be a very good, if you're looking to push on the ladder, this will be a good build, because it's going to be very safe with the maxed energy shield and maxed telekinesis. Very beefy. I use pretty much reckless abandon in this video, teleporting into just the middle of packs and with really no regard at all, and there's really no problem. I only drink a mana potion a couple times, I think. Like right there, for whatever reason, it ate a ton of damage from those souls, but thankfully now the mana burn bug has been fixed. Skillers, mana life charms, not even fully optimized, but good gear obviously. And here we are, soloing player 8 Baal runs with no problem. It's probably not the most damage you can produce with this kind of gear level on a character, but I think the survivability is very, very high. If you want to MF with this, it's going to be very, very powerful. You really don't have to worry about positioning or staying alive. You just keep teleporting until you see champions. You stop, you Nova, and they all die. This is probably what I'm going to be running, because I really don't see a downside. It starts very strong, with some mid-gear gear it's very strong, and in the end it's very strong, so I really don't see a downside with this character. And there you have it. If you think I've missed anything, or you agree, you disagree, let me know below in the comments. Let me know what you're going to be running, but for me, I think this is what I'll be pushing with. So, have a good one, and we'll see you all on the ladder.